What is up, guys? Rick Kakis here, and today we are going to be discussing an idea for an entirely new PvP game mode for Destiny. Now, this idea may indeed work its way into the original Destiny we're all playing right now, perhaps in the next April update. However, it's much more likely, I believe, that some version of this idea, if it does make its way into Destiny, will be in Destiny 2. And the reason I'm making this video is really just to share this idea with you guys. I've been thinking about this over the past little bit. I actually brought up this idea in a very basic example during my final review of The Rise of Iron. I just kind of glazed over it and I thought, hey, maybe I'm kind of onto something here. Maybe this idea can be expanded, and that's what I'm doing in today's video. Again, I think it's a good idea, and I hope you guys can agree with me. And if you do agree with me, I hope you take the time to help support this video by rating and especially sharing it. If this video does well, we may have a real chance to get this implemented. And also, if you guys have any suggestions or disagreements or improvements or any ideas of your own, don't be afraid to share those in the comment section. And also, please make sure to upvote other people's ideas that you also agree with. The dream scenario, of course, is that a Bungie employee comes, watches the video, scrolls down, sees the comments, and we can get some of these ideas actually implemented. Alright, now with that being said, I'm sure you guys are interested to know what exactly the idea is. I talked it up enough, time to showcase what this idea actually is. Well, this idea, although I believe I've worked on it, thought on it, refined it a little bit, it's not necessarily like I came up with this idea all by my own, wow, I'm so brilliant, or anything like that. This basis for an idea has been around for a little bit, and we do have an example of it somewhat being in Halo 5. It's the concept of having a PvP game mode with the presence of AI combatants. Now, I know a lot of you are going to be thinking of what I brought up earlier, which was that Halo 5 example of Warzone. Now, Warzone is the most recent example really showcasing that an idea like this can work in-game. I'm not saying everyone likes Warzone, but certainly there are quite a few people who do enjoy the Halo 5 game mode. Heck, probably more people enjoy Warzone than Supremacy, but, sorry, I got some in my throat there. In any event, I think that we can make this idea, the base concept of player versus player with AI combatants thrown in, a very Destiny-focused idea. And here's really where it gets into the basis of what I've thought about. It would be called Border Wars. Now, what Border Wars would be in Destiny, perhaps Destiny 2, would simply be you have areas within Destiny, Guardian outposts, and areas where the humans have relative control over. However, the enemies are close by, and every once in a while, they push against a Guardian outpost or what have you. Now, these borders need to be protected. The outposts in Mars, Venus, etc. around the universe that Guardians use as a staging ground need to be protected. However, a slight push on the frontiers of human-controlled space, or at least Guardian-controlled space, they need to be met with a counter-aggression. You need to send Guardians in to push back the Vex or the Cabal a little bit from an outpost, but it's never really a super serious issue. I mean, Guardians are incredibly powerful in Destiny. Heck, we took down the Taken King. We took down Oryx, and before that we took down his son. Like, we're taking down people left, right, and center. Guardians are no joke. And so although they do need to send Guardians to ensure these positions and fight back the enemy, it's never really a serious issue. It's more of a chore. And that's why perhaps Lord Shaxx was like, you know what? Let's make this a little more interesting. We've got to go and secure these borders every once in a while, but again, it's not a serious issue. We never have that serious of a fight on our hands. Let's make it interesting. Let's make this a real fight to train Guardians for the horrors that lie far beyond the actual border skirmishes. So that would be the basic premise to why this game mode exists lore-wise in the game. And every week, with the weekly reset, you would see the focus of the Border Wars shift. So one week, the focus would be on Mars, and if you're playing that week, it would only be maps from Mars. Another week, it would be Venus, and the same thing. Another week, it would be the outer reaches, so you would have, asteroids and Mercury. Those oddball maps would get an appearance there as well. So it's a great way to diversify the experience each week in a way that makes sense for the lore. And now let's talk about what this game mode would actually entail. It would be a 5v5 PvP game mode that would start off like normal Clash. Your team versus off against the other team, and you can fight each other and earn points just for killing Guardians on the other team. However, very quickly, you would start to have Hive Tomb Ships or Fallen Skiffs or whatever enemy that you're fighting for that map would start to appear. Those enemies, upon killing them, would give you points. For example, killing an Acolyte would give you 50 points. Killing a Knight would give you perhaps 200. Killing a Hallowed Knight would give you 500. So you get scalable points, more points, based on how powerful that enemy you killed was. And this earning of points for killing minions of the darkness in a PvP environment is kind of how this game mode functions. It's a very cool dynamic of trying to kill those PvE enemies, trying to get a grenade and get 5 acolytes at once and get like a crap ton of points for your team, but also trying to kill the other team just to prevent them from doing the same thing. Killing the other team to prevent them from actually killing the ads. And I think it would be really interesting to see teams in this Border Wars playlist start to have dedicated roles. You'd have certain amounts of the team, perhaps 3 people dedicated to farming AI. They have more PvE focused builds. And then you'd have other players dedicated as slayers, people who go in and just try to kill the other team and try to make sure that they don't get those points. I think that would be such an interesting dynamic. Additionally, you could have once or even twice per round enemy bosses spawn in at a semi-randomized location around the middle of the map, and they would be kind of equivalent to strike bosses, and you would get more points when they're killed based on how much damage your team did to them. So let's say you get 5,000 points for killing these massive bosses, but if you did almost all of the damage, your team is going to get 4,000 points. The enemy team maybe did 1,000 points worth of damage, but you also get 1,000 points for actually getting that final blow, that final kill on that enemy. Like, that would be, I just imagine that would be so fun, having teams go up against it with this massive strike boss stomping the ground and trying to kill everyone. So you're shooting the boss but also trying to lob some grenades over him, maybe try to tag the enemy team. People are trying to rocket launch each other, and the boss is soaking up those rocket launchers every once in a while by accident. Like, it would just be such a fun dynamic if I can imagine it. So that would really be the Border Wars game mode, a pitched battle against another team to see who can get the most points by killing AI combatants and each other. However, I think that there should be timed rounds, but no points victory. For example, the rounds would be 8 minutes no matter what, and at the end of 8 minutes, it would end. The team with the most points would win, and that would introduce a ton of really cool techniques and end game goals for hardcore players to go towards to see like how many points you can get in a single round. And having worldwide leaderboards for the maximum amount of points earned for each map, that would again keep a huge portion of the hardcore community busy trying to get those top spots. However, those points aren't just in the game so that you can screenshot them and send them to your friend to brag about how amazing you are. They're in there for more than show, because there would be an in-game economy based on those points. this game mode would obviously have its own vendor, just like how Trials of Osiris, just like how Iron Banner have their individual vendors. However, if you were to go to the Border Wars vendor, he would have weapons and armor for sale that are purchasable with these points. So perhaps he's selling the auto rifle that is exclusive obviously to this event, just like if the Trials of Osiris vendor sold the Trials of Osiris auto rifle, but you'd have the Border Wars NPC selling the Border Wars auto rifle that is purchasable for 100,000 points, and then your point balance would get minus to 100,000 points. You'd have basically a bank account that you could use to buy these things that the vendor has, and the vendor would rotate his inventory every week. So maybe one week he's selling the auto rifle and the scout rifle, and the next week he's selling the machine gun and the pulse rifle. So every week the vendor would sell 2 random weapon rolls and 2 random armor rolls. And then on top of that, you could buy basically completely random engrams. You could buy a weapon engram or a armor engram, and these engrams would decrypt to any weapon or armor that is exclusive to this event. So if you don't like any of the loot currently on sale, you could spend your points buying these randomized engrams and get, the random rolls the traditional Destiny way. Now that method would still preserve the essence of the Destiny grind, still give you the ability to go after those random god rolls, but also give the player a little bit more choice in what they actually spend their resources on, so you don't feel screwed over spending time and match after match never getting what you want. You have a little bit more player choice than the current activities in Destiny. Now obviously, as I alluded to earlier, this game mode / event would have its own unique weapons and armor sets, just like Trials of Osiris. However, I think it would be really cool if the armor had intrinsic perks that kind of affected the amount of points you would get. For example, an intrinsic perk on the gauntlets that would give you 25 extra points whenever you get a triple kill, just to somewhat increase your endgame capabilities, make it so that wearing a full set of this armor would actually give you noticeable in-game benefits. There would be a reason to collect all of the armor pieces and wear all of them as well. Similar to how the raid armor kind of all works together, and if you're wearing all of the raid armor from the Wrath of the Machine in-game right now, you are going to get a little bit of a benefit. You're going to have an easier time of it because you do get these raid-specific bonuses than someone who isn't. However, we need to keep this game mode somewhat exclusive, and I don't think that making it a timed event, like Trials, which is only here every weekend, or like Iron Banner, which is only here once a month, adding yet another event to that timed schedule just makes things a little bit hectic and confusing. Let's make it exclusive a different way. I think somewhat similar to how you had to buy in to the Challenge of the Elders, you have to buy in to Border Wars. However, it's a little bit more exclusive. For example, it would cost like 50 motes of light to buy your Border Wars ticket that would last for maybe 1 round, maybe, a certain amount of time, like an hour's time, or maybe a certain amount of rounds, like 4 rounds, something like that. Now, the pricing obviously can be changed any which way, and of course, if this is added into Destiny 2, we don't even know if motes of light are going to be in Destiny 2, but to get into this event, to buy your ticket to go to the Border Wars event, I mean, lore-wise, Lord Shaxx would need to know that you're a good enough player to actually fight enemy players and AI at the same time. So you'd have to be max level to enter into this, and you'd have to pay a decent price. That's going to keep this event and the armor and weapons you earn in this event a little bit more exclusive, a little bit more desirable for the end game, and also just limiting how hard you can go in this event is going to do wonders for replayability. Just letting people go in and playing it as much as they want isn't necessarily the best idea. People are just going to get sick of anything that they do constantly. So again, making it a little bit more exclusive in just a different way than making it go away entirely and reappear once a month like the Iron Banner, I think could be a good idea. Now, one last piece of information about this new game mode. I do think there should be a faction ranking for this game mode. So you level up your Border Wars rank just like you level up your Iron Banner rank. However, ranking up would still give you packages for ranking up, just like when you rank up Crucible or Vanguard, but these packages wouldn't give you the weapons or armor. That's exclusive to the in-game economy. The level up packs would give you stuff like ships and shaders unique to this event, or perhaps slight point bonuses. The real purpose about being able to rank up this faction is, well, firstly to give people another thing to work towards, but mainly it would be you get more points based off other people's ranking in this faction. So if you're rank 4 and you kill a rank 5 opponent in this matchmaking setting, you're going to get, 110 points, whereas if you killed someone lower than you, you'd only get 90 points or something like that. Just a little bit of an incentive to reward those close games. If you go in there and absolutely steamroll people and you're rank 20 and you play a team who's rank 0, they've never played it before, and you steamroll them, you're obviously going to get a lot of points, and that's just the way of the game. However, this would be a little bit of a way to reward those close games. If you're rank 20 and you verse another team that's rank 15, rank 20, you're going to be getting a little bit more points for killing those enemies. It's going to make it so that you have those close games and you don't feel like not rewarded for doing so. You don't feel like you're wasting your time in those very close, sweaty games. You're actually getting a little bit of a point bonus for fighting those games as well. And since the losing team is still going to be able to get the points they've earned that game and spend it on loot they want, even if you lose, you may still get a very high point score and you're going to be very happy about it. So it's going to reduce the rage, I think, of the Destiny PvP quite a bit, at least in this game mode. And so guys, that is my idea for Border Wars. By the way, we can totally change the name. A new PvP game mode for Destiny. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. As I was thinking about this idea, I really do think it would be a super fun new game mode for Destiny, or indeed Destiny 2. And again, I hope you guys agree with me. Now, if you do, please remember to support the video. If this video goes nowhere, then this idea unfortunately goes nowhere with it. So I hope we can get some traction. I hope someone from Bungie does end up coming by and at least listening to this idea, and also looking at your guys' comments in the comment section down below. By the way, leave again any suggestion, any ideas, any disagreement, leave them in a comment section down below. I think that for the Destiny franchise to really improve, we need more ideas like this. I'm not necessarily saying this idea needs to be in the game or Destiny is going to fail. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I'm saying is that we need more differentiation of content. You know, if you look at something like Trials of Osiris, that wasn't in the game, and when that was added, that was something so new. The Trials experience and all the loot behind it and going to the lighthouse was such a cool and different PvP activity when compared to just normal Crucible, especially at the time. And I think we need more stuff like that. More cool, unique activities that are going to be very different from other activities within Destiny. And I'm just sharing you guys one idea for something that could be. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to see more Destiny content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. Now, if you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.